Emma Raducanu had a tough year with tons of charm inquiries and scary draws against world champions. Hint, Serena, the young gal, has had quite some obstacles in her way, but despite all the craziness, the 19-year-old still manages to give her best. However, it didn't quite go as well as she would have liked, as the star couldn't defend her US Open title. Today, let's find out what Emma had to say about this recent setback. Starting off, Emma's reaction to not being a part of the US Open anymore. After losing in the first round of the US Open, Emma Raducanu said it was very disappointing, but she was glad to be in a clean condition and ready to start again. Raducanu lost to Alize Cornet in the first round of the US Open on Tuesday. The score was 36, 6-3, which was pretty surprising considering how well Emma had been doing. Raducanu has been struggling with her game and performance since she won the US Open a few years ago, but as of now, it's official. Her defense of the US Open Championship is over. Now that it's done, she'll likely face less pressure and expectations, but also a sharp drop in the rankings. She said that she thinks it was a fairly challenging game against a highly seasoned player. The defending champ also said she's devastated by the first round defeat. Alize deserves some praise. She did well throughout the game, but all in all, she was quite unfortunate to leave the court without the title. Raducanu added that it's definitely her tournament. While she's sad to leave, she's also relieved that it came with a clean slate. Emma said that she knows how much of a drop it'll bring to her ranking on the leaderboard, but she's also ready to climb her way back up again soon. Moving on, she's pretty satisfied with her performance. Emma said, quote, "I've done a really good job, especially in the last 6 weeks. I'm just looking forward to consistently getting more of these weeks together, and then we'll see what happens." Raducanu was the defending champion at a tournament for the first time in her career. In the future, Raducanu said that she wants to win events of all skill levels. She said it would have been fantastic to defend the US Open Championship after winning it. However, she feels the need for variety in her life and new experiences. She said she's after those new experiences, and even losing the US Open was one of them. Even though a little bitter, but a new experience nevertheless. She definitely wants to participate in another event. Raducanu said due to her imminent ranking decrease, Raducanu will no longer be a tournament seed. It'll be interesting to watch how she fares for the rest of the season. Not to forget, the 19-year-old found the conditions tough as well. Raducanu did concede that the conditions were difficult for her to cope with, adding it was rather windy. It was really challenging for her, particularly in terms of locating her ball throw. She said that she believes she was hitting a significant number of her serves too long. She had a hard time adjusting to the new circumstances, to be honest. It's something that both players were going through. During the match, her competitor just handled the situation more effectively than she did. What's more, the 19-year-old again was having continued difficulty with blisters on her fingers, as shown by the fact that she was forced to take a medical timeout at the end of the first set in order to have one bandaged. She said that she's been experiencing some blisters during the last several weeks in the United States, but that this is mainly due to the humidity and other factors. Even more recently, she got newer ones. Emma said that all that could be done was to tape it up and get on with her life. Don't know about you, but we're definitely proud of her for dealing with that so maturely. Let's find out what the future holds for Emma Raducanu. One of the most important choices that Raducanu will need to make is about her coaching position when she has had some time to reflect on everything. She has been working with Dmitry Tursonov, a veteran WTA coach who has coached at the highest levels, and now she has to determine whether or not he's the ideal guy for the job. The fact that Raducanu has a history of chopping and changing advisors, along with the fact that her marquee position can make it difficult to know who to trust, makes it an interesting situation. However, it's difficult to deny that a modicum of consistency wouldn't be beneficial to her. Raducanu said that she intends to compete in fewer but more manageable WTA events for the remainder of the year, beginning with the Korea Open in Seoul on September 19th. It's anticipated that she'll wrap up her season competing for Great Britain in the Billie Jean King Cup Finals, which will take place in Glasgow in the month of November. What's more, here's some insight on her ranking after her loss. The previous year was like waiting for the perfect storm. After having a wonderful summer, she entered the competition feeling completely confident and prepared to give it her all. She was able to swing freely and play aggressively in situations that suited her game since she had no real expectations for herself, but her opponents were scared about losing to an 18-year-old rookie and underperformed as a result. This year, Raducanu found herself in the opposite position, and her lack of victories cast doubt on her ability to compete. She'll be rated no higher than 80 and maybe even a few positions lower depending on the performance of players ranked below her during this fortnight. Because of this, she'll not be able to participate in some tournaments without a wild card, which shouldn't be too difficult to get. On the other hand, this position is a far more accurate depiction of her current ability than the top 15 spot that she had previously held. She'll have very few points to defend for the remainder of the year, so Emma will be able to concentrate on beginning the climb back at a more consistent pace. Now in other news, first off, Nadal on fire as he emerges victorious again. To go to the 4th round at Flushing Meadows, the 4th-time winner breezed through the former world number 7, Richard Gasquet, with a score of 6-0, 6-1, 7-5. Nadal has defeated Gasquet in every single one of their 18 head-to-head ATP encounters, and he has won 34 straight sets against the Frenchman. In the last set on Thursday evening, Nadal was not only involved in a strange accident that caused him to gash open the bridge of his nose, but he was also behind Fognini by a set and 2-4. During the press conference after the match, the golfer, who has won 22 major championships, said unequivocally that his performance on the course was not as good as his practice rounds. This was shown by the left-handed player's triumph against Gasquet, who has 15 titles on the ATP Tour. Nadal finished the match in 2 hours and 17 minutes despite facing a 0-40 disadvantage. On his serving in the opening gate, he was able to come back and win the game. Gasquet holds the record for most defeats by Nadal. He has never beaten Nadal in all the 18 games the duo has played, another Frenchman. Paul-Henri Mathieu, who competed against the lefty 10 times and lost every single one of those matches, comes in a number 2 on this list. Nadal's next match will be against Frances Tiafoe, a player he has defeated in both their previous encounters. Up next, Victoria Azarenka's comments. According to Victoria Azarenka, the safety of tennis players is something that has been addressed in order to protect vulnerable young female tennis players from being taken advantage of. The comments were made by a member of the WTA Players Council from Belarus in reaction to charges of sexual assault made by the French player Fiona Ferro against her former coach Pierre Bautier. According to information provided by the counsel for Bautier, the individual, quote, acknowledges that interaction took place but denies any sort of compulsion. As reported by AFP, she said it was quite depressing and it has a profound impact on her. In fact, if he had a daughter, one of her primary concerns would be whether or not she would be interested in playing tennis. Finally, Ukrainian Kostik chooses not to shake hands with Belarusian Azarenka. Given Belarus's participation in Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Kostyuk texted Azarenka just before their second-round match to let her know that she planned to forgo the customary post-match handshake when they met. The match, in which Azarenka won 6-2 and 6-3, ended with the two players tapping their rackets together at the net. She didn't know a single person who openly denounced the war and the conduct of their government, which is why she didn't feel like she could support this. The 20-year-old Kostyuk told ESPN that it was her decision. Kostyuk is one of the numerous Ukrainian players who has called on Russian and Belarusian sportsmen to reject their decisions of the Russian government to invade Ukraine if they want to participate in international events. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think of Emma's performance? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.